From Hans Christian Andersen's To Travel is to Live, to Tolkien's Not All Those Who Wander Are Lost, the charms of travel have not been lost on some of the greatest wordsmiths. And in not just quotes like these, any medium that showcases a destination is meant to inspire others to travel. In this, the audiovisual medium is perhaps the most effective, where even if, for a moment, the viewer is transported around the world, all while sitting on his armchair. Our films do a fantastic job at this, making us travel along with the characters on the journey of a lifetime. And while on the topic of films and travel, how can we not talk about one of the greatest proponents of this kind of armchair traveling in our generation? Imtiaz Ali, the director of films like Sochanatha, Love Aajkal, Jab We Met, Rockstar, Tamasha, Jab Harry Met Sejal, and of course, Highway. In Imtiaz's films, travel appears as a recurring character, often inspiring the protagonist to undergo life-altering experiences, be it the mad train journey of Geet and Aditya in Jab We Met. And by the way, for many like me, Ratlam has gained nationwide popularity thanks to this film. Or Ved and Tara's chance encounter in Corsica that shows a completely different side of the usually reticent Ved. Today, as we dwell on the topic of film tourism, we could not have asked for anyone more appropriate than Imtiaz to discuss travel and films. Welcome, Imtiaz. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Imtiaz, perhaps this is a question that you've had to answer very frequently, but what is it that inspires you to make films, that urges the viewers to pack their bags and head for that destination?
I think making films is a reason for me to do what I'd like. And the great thing about cinema is that you can write any story and you find the basis to do what you want to do. For instance, if I write travel in a story, then I'll get a chance to travel. I think that is an honest confession of a filmmaker. But at the same time, I have always been fascinated by journeys. And I feel that a person becomes a completely different person when he is in a journey. Since stories and films are about people, the travel aspect of their personality can never be ignored.
Imtiaz, how difficult, or for that matter, for you, it might be very easy, is it to weave in the element of travel in your narrative almost every time?
I feel that since I like travel so much, many of my stories are based in situations of travel already. Like there'd be some meeting on a train rather than in a cafe. There would be people who miss their trains rather than get rejected in an interview in an office, because those spaces inspire me more. Those are places like if I close my eyes and I think about a story, I instantly think of an outdoorish situation where people are on the move, they're not static in their lives. So these situations and these stories, they keep appearing again and again in my mind. And so it is for me not very difficult to weave these things into the story because the stories come woven in that fashion.
Mm-hmm. Imtiaz, as a filmmaker, you have shot extensively in international locations like Prague, Budapest, and of course in domestic destinations as well. So if you had to rate the experience of shooting internationally vis-a-vis shooting within the country, how would you describe that?
Well, it's quite different. But at the same time, it is just the fact that some of the shooting is abroad and some in India is not the difference. What I mean is that there are some places where the culture of filmmaking exists and there are a lot of people who are professionals in filmmaking. For instance, in Prague, it was extremely organized because there is the FAMU Film School and so many people that are pass outs from there work in the film industry in Prague, which otherwise might not be known as a great cinema destination, as in like I love Czech films and there are very good Czech films, but not many people in India would know that Czech cinema is so good and so powerful, But at the same time, because of FAMU, because of this institute, a lot of professionals. So it was really very easy, very tidy, very simple and organized to work over there in Prague. in the Czech Republic. However, when we went to shoot, let's say in Corsica, which is a part of France, although French cinema is very developed, but Corsica in itself is not developed too much as a shooting travel destination, if you know what I mean. Similarly, when we go to shoot, let's say in highway, we encountered many places which are the, let's say, upper reaches of Himachal. We were shooting in places like Tabo, Kaza, Nako, and thing. And over there, shootings might have happened, but really a long time back. Nobody really knows. There's no trail of how to shoot, organized shooting over there. So then we set up our own people, and that's a completely different experience. When I went to shoot Rockstar in Kashmir at that time, they hadn't been shootings there for 25 years, etc., because of the problems that happened in Kashmir politically. So there was no infrastructure available. So in a sense, it was a bit like shooting in Corsica, because you had to start all over again, start to find people who are not film professionals and tell them that, can you do this? Can you do that? I will guide you, that kind of thing. You set it up. Both have their own fun. Sometimes when there is a very structured film industry like the UK, in London, it becomes a difficulty as well, because the situation could have become very bureaucratic. That you can do this, you can't do that. So as a filmmaker, you feel a little stifled there. Wherein in Corsica or in Kashmir, nobody was about to say to me, you can't do that. Which is that if the path is not established to go up that hill, you have to make the path. Correct. But making the path, it might be more effort, but sometimes more interesting as well.
Imtiaz, I wanted to ask you, since we are talking about travel and tourism boards, as a filmmaker, what is the kind of support do you look at from destinations where you want to shoot a film?
Well, now I think the Indian states have really wisened up to this one. And when I go to, things like FICCI, travel destination symposiums, etc., all various states approach directors like me, and they say that they already have what's called a one window permission and one window interface, etc. What we look for is the fact that the government should know how to deal with shooting. So if I say that if a director goes to a location, he will in his mind go through the story and decide which places he wants to shoot in. He will also decide what kind of shots he wants in those places. Then if he can speak to somebody who gets permissions, that permission seeking is the most important thing. And if there is a person from the government who says, okay, you want this, you can shoot here, you can shoot there only on a Sunday, so on and so forth, whatever, that we'll give you these permissions in this way, this is how much it's going to cost, etc., etc., then it becomes very easy. If usually the government is not ready for, like, there is no department in the government which says film production, like it has got economics, it has got finance and tourism, etc. So within tourism, very often in many foreign countries and also in Indian states, within tourism comes, you're going to have a department where somebody looks at permissions for film shooting or whatever film shootings might entail. So that interface with the government can make it very easy for us.
Okay.
Because what happens is, when I say the government, I mean there are 20,000 departments. Okay, if you go to shoot at a certain place, then like in Bombay, you will have the customs clearance, you have the Bombay Port Trust clearance, then you have the police permission, and then you've got the Thana, and then you've got the location permission, and then you got the street, and like 20,000, right? So if the government is in a unique position of any place to really screw up shooting, if they want, they can come and they can just mess it up. So this kind of place, no matter how beautiful it is, it never survives as a shooting destination. Certain places take precedence over others, where somebody who's higher up in the organization says, you know what, to hell with it. I'll make it easy for them And so you can all talk to me. I will get all the internal clearances, because the film person will get very baffled when it comes to a sarkari daftar kind of thing. ये पर्ची लेके उधर जाओ, उधर से इधर वो, उसमें
Correct.
sign हुआ क्या, इधर ठप्पा लगा, you know. So, so yeah, if somebody handles it from the government side, it always makes sense.
Absolutely. Uh, Imtiaz, when you shoot at a particular destination, do you also go on a personal recce? I'm asking you this because your locations have a certain kind of authenticity that is very rare to come by. It feels as if somebody has been there, seen the places, visualized everything, and then decided that, okay, I'm going to come here and shoot a film.
Every director does a location recce, sometimes many location recce's before he starts shooting. I also do the same. And in my case, oftentimes film locations are places that I visit on my own first, on my personal time, without an agenda, without knowing what I might
Correct.
be, that I'd be doing anything over there. So I land up over there, and then I discover the place, and then that image stays in my mind, and then I realize sometimes a story is inspired by visiting a place like that, and then that place comes back into the story. So so, like Kashmir, we were talking about it earlier. When I went over there, I had already written the screenplay of Rockstar, and I wanted to shoot the location Rajasthan for the portion that I finally shot in Kashmir. But when I went to Kashmir, I realized that why don't I shoot here? It will be much more exciting. I've shot in Rajasthan, but not here. Nobody shoots in Kashmir. But then staying there for 15 days on my personal trip, I realized that it is possible, because I already started making friends who I thought could help me. And then emerged this guy, Khavar, who's my friend, but he is the biggest and the most important film personality and line producer in Kashmir. So, yeah, so much of it is sourced from personal travel. That so
Yeah,
because
it's very evident in your films as well, because it
yeah.
feels as if somebody has gone on a holiday there, seen the place, decided some kind of shooting will happen at some point in time.
Yeah, it's like like I have this thing that whenever I'm traveling on my own,
Mhm.
and I come to a good place, and I feel, what is the point of this place being beautiful? Because if I was shooting a film, then I could have captured it. It could have been in the film,
Correct.
then I could have put this guy over here, and it would be so nice if he spoke to this guy, and nice scene at this time. So it's like a waste if I'm not shooting and I'm just kind of personally traveling. But when I'm shooting, then I feel, oh, such a nice sunset, see such a nice bench. I wish I was not shooting, so I just could go and sit over there and look at the sunset. It's a waste of this bench and this beauty if I'm shooting. So it's like a paradox.
Yeah. Imtiaz, on the topic of Kashmir, Kashmir has also chosen you as a representative of, to promote the local art and culture. How do you take on a responsibility like that?
Oh, I love Kashmir. I feel that the crafts of Kashmir are perhaps the most sophisticated anywhere in the country. I feel that the cuisine, the music, the the ethical background, the spiritual background of that place, it far exceeds any other place that I've seen in my life. And it's always a pleasure, and it's like a blessing to actually be in Kashmir for me. I feel like that, and so even much before any Kashmiri would want me to represent any art, I was already promoting it. Firstly, by doing whatever I could do with it, like eating as
Mhm.
much food, buying as much clothes, uh, shooting over there, etc. And then telling my friends, and going again and again. And so it's a privilege, I feel. The heritage is huge. I feel also that the Kashmiri person is misunderstood a bit, and he feels that no one understands him, and that he or she cannot really mingle with the rest of us. So I feel that if there is more and more interaction with people like me and you and other people who are
Mhm.
sympathetic to just people, then it would be good for them, because I feel the Kashmiri people are very artistic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Point on there. Imtiaz, of course, it's not just Kashmir. Any destination that you showcase, you tend to make it a visual treat. But if you had to talk about your own experience, have you yourself watched a movie and felt like taking off for a particular destination?
Oh yes, so, I love movies which have travel. I don't like love stories, so to speak, to watch, but I feel that the most interesting thing for me in any film is if the film can transport me and take me to a place where I'm not likely to ever go. For instance,
Yes.
there is this film called, I keep recommending this movie to everybody. It's called The Prisoner of the Mountain, and it's a Russian film by Sergei Bodrov, and it is based in the Chechenian mountains in Russia. So the places are such that when I saw it, I felt so like gratified. It's almost as though, I've been on a trip there. So now I could never go to the Chechenian mountains like that, or to a small village which was shown. But in the rest of the places, whenever I traveled, let's say in the Himalayas, I always end up going to small villages like that and trying to, experience that, which has given me a lot of like joy and experience. So I get really inspired by films to travel.
Okay, of course, and your films make everybody else, inspire everyone else to travel. Imtiaz, since we are talking about you and travel, so when you are traveling, what kind of a traveler are you? Are you someone who plans his itinerary to the T, or do you just believe in landing up at a destination and then deciding what to do next?
See, what practically happens with me is a mix of this. I don't like going to the touristy locations of any place. For me, it's okay to go to Paris and not see the Eiffel Tower. In fact, the first time I went to Paris, I didn't see the Eiffel Tower, only because I felt that, when you go to any travel destination, like one of those touristy places, the experience is the same. You have to stand in line, you have to take ticket, there is crowd, you take a picture, there's a selfie point, you da da da. So, once you've been to one, if you've been to all, you don't, I feel, whether it's the Leaning Tower of Pisa, or the Chinese Wall, it's the experience is the same, just the visual is different. What I do often is that I go close to a place like this. Like I'll go to a destination on the Great Wall of China, which is not the main destination where you go and you just take a selfie and come out, or you go to the
Correct.
Charles Bridge, and I hate that. I feel that, and people keep taking selfies and they don't even get a moment actually to experience what it is like to be there.
Correct.
I was in Prague in a hotel, and the Charles Bridge, which is the most famous
Mhm.
destination in Prague, was just outside. So in the morning, all these buses used to arrive, these coaches from other cities in Europe, and people used to get off. Even before they got off, they were already rolling their cameras, recording their video cameras, and they would just look through in it and then go
Yeah,
and then take a
absolutely.
tour, and then they would turn it around at a certain place, do all this and all this, and they would get back into the bus. Now, from experience, we
Correct.
know that when we record things at tourist destinations like that, you never watch it with the same kind of enthusiasm with which you actually record it. So that whole time of being
Absolutely.
there is wasted. So I'm not like that. I don't take pictures. Very, very rarely do I take pictures. The other thing is I don't have an itinerary. I would like to, like it is said that the best travel guide is the one that you write while you are in that travel, not that something that you can read and it will give you a certain value. I don't believe that there are any points I can get for hitting certain destinations in a city, or by doing things or not doing things. I every time I leave a city after a tour, after a travel, a city or a place, I always feel that I have not seen anything. So that will never change. I never, no matter how much I see, I'll never get a sense of, oh, now I've done this place. So I have a few things to do whenever I go to a certain place, like things that I want to do. Like, I'd like to have coffee in Bosnia, or there is a place in Bosnia where you drink water and it calls you back, things like that.
Mhm.
It's supposed to be like that. So I do those things for sure, but I don't have an itinerary really.
I'm sure if I ask you where all have you traveled, it's going to be an exhaustive list. But I just want to ask you, what are the destinations on your wish list, and which are the destinations that have really left an impression on your mind?
Well, the problem with me is that every destination leaves an impression on my mind, and the destinations that I still have to go to, and I'm very eager and anxious to get there, is Peru. Um, it is Samarkand, which is in
Okay.
Uzbekistan
Yes.
now. It is also Lhasa and erstwhile Tibet. It is. I have this great urge to go into the desert now. So I'd love to go to Africa, and I'd
Mhm.
love to go to Morocco. I have to discover what
Wow.
kind of deserts I can get into.
Mhm.
And I have had, yeah, so Morocco is up there on the list for me as well. And yeah, so these ones.
I'm sure if Morocco tourism is watching this, they will definitely send an invitation to you after
Oh,
this.
make sure. And then we can plan and all of us can get there. Yeah.
Imtiaz, how often, of course, your work is itself like a holiday, a mini holiday. But like you
Yeah.
mentioned, when you're shooting, then you can't really enjoy a destination. So, how often do you take a holiday? And, when you are on a holiday, who's your favorite traveling companion?
My daughter is my favorite traveling companion. I feel now I love traveling with her because her perspective is very different from mine.
Hmm.
And she kind of knows that I'm interested in a point of view. So she also comes up with her ideas. You get different ideas when you're traveling. And well, it's not true that I don't enjoy location when I'm shooting. Actually, I enjoy a location more when I'm shooting because it is also much more interactive and real. It's like staying
Hmm.
in a place. It's not like if I'm shooting in a city or a place and I am there for a month, then they stop taking me like a tourist. Really, they start to like the waiter that if I go to a cafeteria every day, then beyond a point he'll be a bit not so formal with me, and I enjoy that. I enjoy a real experience with the person.
Imtiaz, have you shortlisted a destination or even multiple destinations where you would love to shoot your next film?
Well, uh, there's Turkey. I have shot in
Uh-huh.
Turkey, but not really. I would love to shoot in Turkey. In
Where in Turkey?
I have a story based in Istanbul and other certain other places. So Turkey is one of them. Um, I'm also very eager to shoot in. Like I really want to discover the Central Asian cities or the Central Asian places, the places that are in Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan, and that's a
Kyrgyzstan.
world. Yeah, that's a world that's waiting to be explored. The erstwhile
Correct.
USSR, which is close to Mongolia, landlocked,
Mhm, mhm,
and it has given birth to so many civilizations, like the Mughal civilization and
mhm.
dynasty had emerged from there, and it is said that Delhi and Agra were made by the Mughals in imitation of Samarkand or in memory of Samarkand. So it would be so nice to actually get around there and see what that is. Um, yeah, so I would love to shoot there, and also in Africa. I think Anurag Basu had shot in Africa for a film. but
Yes,
not
Jagga
much
Jasoos.
shooting.
I think Jagga
Jagga,
Jasoos. Yes, yes.
he shot in Jagga, and he did a fabulous job. But I think there is also that. And recently, when I went to Argentina and I saw Chile,
Oh,
I
okay.
feel that these, these South American countries, not in the same way, have something to offer, but it's so uniquely, subtly different from other places in Europe, etc. That and since it's so far away, it's a bit difficult. But there are gems over there to discover for tourism as well.
Absolutely. So you've been to Turkey as well, right? But you've traveled to Turkey extensively.
Yeah.
Okay. So your next
Yes,
film, so probably you'd be shooting next in Turkey. So
I hope so.
okay.
I hope
And
I'll
in
be
India,
shooting in
is
Turkey
there
soon.
any place that you would
Oh
like to
yes,
explore in India?
much as I shoot in the Himalayas, it
Correct.
calls me back again and again. So I feel I've shot. I think the state I've shot most in India after Delhi, of course, is Himachal.
Himachal.
More than Rajasthan, more than Kashmir. I've shot a lot in Himachal, but I keep wanting to go back there again and again. Uh, Again, there is a story, and there is a Himachal small village this time in it. And so, yeah, I keep wanting to go back and shooting in the Himalayas. I just can't get over that experience.
Yes, and that's the best way to
The other
showcase a
place I'd like to
destination.
shoot, the other place that I'd like to shoot is the Northeast. Also the Himalayas, but in the
Mhm.
Northeast, like Arunachal.
Okay.
I'd been to
Uh-huh.
Arunachal a couple of years back, and very, very different. I feel from Himachal and the places I'd seen in Himachal, so to speak. So Himalayas keep calling me back again and again. Rajasthan keeps calling me back again and again. Delhi even keeps, there's so
Mhm.
much to see over there. And I've shot so much in all of these places, but I want to keep returning there. And Kashmir, of course. Kashmir is just like wherever, however you frame, it's always going to be picturesque and beautiful. There's nothing like Kashmir.
Correct. Thank you so much, Imtiaz. I hope that we'll see your film next time being shot somewhere in India or abroad. But I hope you'll be traveling again, and of course, with you, even we will be traveling. Thank you
Thank you,
so much
Peden.
for your time today. Thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to
It's a
have you
pleasure.
here.
Likewise. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you.